Hello, hello, ladies and gentlemen. It is Tuesday, May 5th, and we are beginning one of my favorite units of all time in grammar. We are beginning patterns 1 and 2. We are beginning sentence patterns. And listen when I say sentence patterns are the most important part of what we're learning in grammar this year. Everything we've done up until this point is to allow us to be able to do sentence patterns. And sentence patterns is kind of the structure of how all sentences in the English language are created. This is the basis for every single sentence that you will write if you are an English speaker or English writer, meaning every single sentence I write fits into one of these 5 sentence patterns. There are 5 total. This week we're starting on patterns 1 and 2. And that means we get to learn Miss Doyle's favorite job. So since we only have 4 days in a week, we are now going to kind of adjust our schedule. So we're going to do a 4-day schedule now. So things are going to go more quickly. We are tonight not going to do exercise 1. We're going to start on exercise 2. And I will explain to you in a little bit why that is. But it's the way that the exercises are set up in your book. But without further ado, let us at least get into our notes. So if you don't have your notebook or a writing implement out yet, pause the video, get your grammar notebook out, and then we will begin our notes. All right, let me share my screen. Patterns 1 and 2 notes. Let's go. All right. So patterns 1 and 2 notes. Our next unit right after adverbs, and this is patterns 1 and 2 out of 5, okay? Today we're just going to talk about labeling and parsing and then a little bit about jobs with Miss Doyle's favorite job included. Pattern 1, sentence pattern 1. And I promise you there's actually a really slick and easy way for you to know what sentence patterns you're doing, okay? So, like I said, there are 5 sentence patterns total. And the first pattern is noun, action verb, okay? And that noun can be a pronoun, a proper noun, or just a regular noun. And then it has to be an action verb, a mental or physical action. And this is what we've seen a lot of up to this point. We've also seen some pattern 2 sentences, but most of us are, and this is what we've diagrammed on our baseline diagrams, just a subject and a verb, okay? There is only one noun besides those in prepositional phrases and one verb. So in a pattern 1 sentence, there is one noun outside of a prepositional phrase. In a pattern 1 sentence, there are how many nouns outside the prepositional phrases? Just one. This is why prepositional phrases are going to start to be really, really helpful. That noun we've learned is called the subject. It's what does the verb. And everything else in the sentence are modifiers of some kind. So those are like adjectives, articles, adverbs, or those prepositional phrases, the group of words acting as a modifier. Let's do our example. Most American children live in their hometown. This is again, in their hometown is a prepositional phrase, in is a preposition, there is an adjective, hometown is a noun. What are the nouns and verbs in this sentence? Well, children, live, and hometown. Now, what you can do is cross that one out because it's inside of a prepositional phrase, so we do not count it for our patterns. I'm actually going to show you this with writing on the screen with my little pen. You haven't gotten to see that this year, but all you have to do is actually count the nouns outside of the prepositional phrases. So, how many nouns are there outside of the prepositional phrase in this sentence? There's one. It's a pattern 1 sentence. That's it. We find those prepositional phrases so that we can then ignore them when we're talking about patterns. Okay? Remember, pause at any point in time. There's a lot of information on this slide. Okay. That noun and that action verb are subject and our verb. Our first noun is always our subject, and then we've got an action verb. All right, pattern 2, one of my favorites. Okay, this is noun, action, verb, noun. So if you are paying attention, a pattern 1 sentence is noun, action, verb. A pattern 2 sentence adds a noun. So how many nouns are there outside of a prepositional phrase in a pattern 2 sentence? So a pattern 2 sentence contains one verb and 2 nouns. One noun comes before the subject, that's not anything new, and one comes after the verb, the direct object, my favorite job of all time. The direct object is the noun or pronoun which is receiving the action of the verb. And one of my favorite ways to explain this is usually I will come around the room and use a student who, you know, has a good sense of humor, and I will say something to the effect of, I hit, let's just say Cassie, because you know it's fun. I'm just kidding. I wouldn't actually hit her, but I would lightly tap a student and I would say I hit Cassie, or I touched Cassie, or I hit table. I is our subject, hit is our verb. What did I hit? What did I touch? Cassie or the table. It's what's receiving the action of the verb. And the easy way to find the direct object is you say the subject, and then the verb, and then say what. And this is like my favorite memory sentence. If the answer is a noun or a pronoun, you have a direct object. If it's something receives that action, you have a direct object. It directly receives the action of the verb. Direct object. Object is the thing, receives the verb. So our example is, young people rarely show their appreciation. What are the nouns and verbs in this sentence? Well, people, show, appreciation. That's it. There's no prepositional phrases, so we don't have to rule those out. And look, noun, action, verb, noun. And what's really cool about sentence patterns and what's really cool about English is they will go in order from left to right. They have to. Like, you don't have to wonder, is this my subject and is this my direct object? No. In English, we are really strict on word order as opposed to like Latin. Latin doesn't really care. Latin, you can move things around. English, we're really strict on it, so that means the first noun will always be your subject, the verbs, you know, after that, and then that second noun, if it's a pattern 2 sentence, is your direct object. It has to be. That's just how English works. People show what? Appreciation. That's your direct object. That's it. This I put on a whole nother slide and in huge letters. To find the direct object, say the subject and the verb and then say what. That's how you find if you have a direct object. So I hit what? Cassie. I would never hit Cassie. I love Cassie. I drank the soda. You know it's me. I drank what? Soda. That's how it rolls. That's the direct object. If something receives that action, it's the object of the verb. So we have some new connections we have here. Nouns and pronouns can be subjects. They can be objects of the prepositions, but now they can also be direct objects, okay? As you can see, subject, object, and they have that ject in there, but object, subject, object, all of those are going to be nouns. The same process as before. We didn't add anything to it. The only difference is that you're going to be looking for that second noun, okay? Your homework tonight is exercise 2. Exercise 1 are all pattern 1 sentences, meaning there's only a subject and a verb, and that's it. Everything else are prepositional phrases. And so you can do exercise 1 if you would like, but they are all pattern 1 sentences. Exercise 2, your homework, pattern 2 sentences. They all have direct objects. And I'm going to show you what I want you to do in your workbook for those, okay? Let's look at a sentence example. The scared young boy jumped off the diving board. Let's use our process, label all of our nouns. Boy, board. And if you are paying attention, we've got a verbal here, guys, that ing word describing a noun. It's a verb acting as an adjective. Then we'll go through and ask which boy, the, scared, and young, all describing boy. Which board, the, and diving. Diving is an adjective, the verbal acting as an adjective. Which board, the diving board. Nobody's diving in this sentence. And then prepositions, off is a preposition, off what? board. Off the diving board is a prepositional phrase. Then we have our verb. Who or what jumped? The boy jumped. It's an action verb. Now, what are the nouns in this sentence? Well, boy and board. But board is inside of a prepositional phrase, so that does not apply. We cannot use it, okay? Ignore it. You cross it out. It's not applicable. So what pattern do we have here? We have a pattern one sentence. There is one noun outside of the prepositional phrase. All right, number 2. That little round table goes there in the corner of the room. Table, corner, room. All right, which table? That little round. Which corner? In the, or the corner, excuse me, in's a preposition. And then which room? The room. Okay, then prepositions. In is a preposition, so in the corner is a prepositional phrase. Of is a preposition. Of the room is a prepositional phrase. Then we have our action verb, goes. Which goes, or who goes? Table goes. And then the table goes where? There. There is an adverb. It's answering a where question. Now, what are our nouns in the sentence? Table, corner, or sorry, I always forget to say the action verb. Nouns and verbs, table and goes, corner, room. But these are in prepositional phrases, so they do not apply to our patterns. Okay, so what sentence pattern do we have here? Pattern 1. There's only one noun outside of the prepositional phrases. That's why I really like those prepositional phrases and those parentheses. It's like a little chunk that you can ignore, okay? Number 3, family, television, room. Which family? The Johnson. Which television? A new. And which room? Their living. Another verbal ing word acting as an adjective. All right, any prepositional phrases? Yep, for is always a preposition, so for their living room is a prepositional phrase. And then action verb, bought. What did the family do? They bought, so that makes sense. Let's circle our nouns. Family, oh, and verbs. Bought, television, room. But one of them we can cross out because it's in a prepositional phrase. Oh, ignore room. So how many nouns do we have outside of the prepositional phrase in this sentence? 2, which means it's a pattern 2 sentence. And it has what? What job is television doing? What job receives the action of the verb? The direct object. Okay? I'm going to do another video, a little short one to go with this, but your homework tonight is exercise 2. Skip exercise 1, exercise 2. Every single sentence will have a direct object. Every single sentence is a pattern 2 sentence, okay? And I'll have one more short video for you, and yeah, have fun. I like this. This is when you get to start like simplifying the sentence, because you can kind of get rid of extra things that aren't that important, and you can look at the basis of the sentence, okay? Tomorrow we'll do diagramming, even though I will show you how to do a baseline for tonight's homework. And yeah, have a good rest of your day. Good luck. Bye.